Welcome to the Blueprint Tour, where we visit industry experts from all corners of the construction industry to overcome trust hurdles and build community. I'm Kenny Shultz, and this Season 3 episode was recorded live at the 2024 CREI Summit in Atlanta. If you're interested in using digital tools like social media, podcasting, email, and AI to drive your business development and real estate, you don't want to miss the 2025 CREI Summit happening in the beautiful Palm Desert, California. Now, let's get into today's conversation.
All right, here we go. All right, Blueprint Tour. Season 3, episode 11. Welcome.
Oh, you guys have seasons?
Yeah, we're on season 3.
How do you decide how do you do your seasons?
We kind of make them up as we go.
It's just like this whole entire thing.
Wait, it's seasons because you took a break, so now you start give a certain number of episodes per season, or
it's not a perfect science. We decided to make season 3 dedicated to the CREI Summit, just as an idea. So the first season was a motif of
coordination
and construction, and we just talked about that with that was more focused in on the subcontractors, the architects. Then we talked to those kind of folks. We actually talked to like a land use guy, but then we went into season 2 with design, and so that was a little bit more just talking to people that are. We even talked to like a branding expert that helps people get the branding integrated into the buildings and the spaces, and
nice.
That was pretty cool. And then season 3, this totally just got invented 2 weeks ago on a Spaces call with Ken Ashley. He was on it. And I was like half joking, like, hey, why don't we set up our podcast while we're there and just talk to people?
And he was like, sure.
Yeah.
He's kind of awesome like that,
okay.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
Right?
He's totally.
And he makes it happen. Like if you think it, and then by the time you say it out loud, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally didn't expect it to be a real thing. And he was very accommodating. He helped us. And Jamie, who's the coordinator, she's been great. And so suddenly here we are. We even just showed up, didn't really even know where we'd be recording. And we pointed to this couch. And we're like,
and you guys have just been here.
Yeah, yeah.
And so season 3 is focused on brokerage, maybe. Or
season 3, what we're going to think? Maybe social media influencer, something around that world. We're making it up as we go.
Or maybe it's going to be focused on the relevance of brokerage to what you guys do.
That is true. That is a good point. That's kind of why we started reaching out to folks like Ken. I think Carter and you must have talked about that a little bit last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So why don't y'all riff on?
Well, yeah. I think it's interesting how, so we were talking last night, I was getting to know what you do. It's the irony for everyone is so for people who know who Jere Metcalf is, I was a luxury real estate agent for 20 years. And I've got the Jere Metcalf podcast where top real estate agents tell how they do it. That kind of, as you guys have learned about podcasts, they really put you on the map. Mm-hmm. They create amazing opportunities and friendships, and any friendships you make, it just levels it up times 100, and you learn things you never thought you would learn. But long story short, that's Jere Metcalf, luxury real estate agent from Sotheby's International Realty. And here we are talking about commercial. But what Carter and I were talking about last night was the relevance of what you guys do with the engineering and the plans that you're drawing. And you're talking to brokers, and a lot of times brokers are like, well, you've got nothing to do with that. And I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. I think there's so much in brokerage that's so relevant to what you guys are doing. So Carter, you want to do we call that riffing? See, this is where I need to get more up to date.
We like the riffs.
Riff with me. As far as, because I was asking you a million questions last night. I was probably dequalifying myself as a guest, and you still had me on. So thank you. This is fun.
It's fine. I mean, we're at dinner talking about, we would cold call brokers sometimes and tell them what we do. And they're just like, we don't really have anything to do with you. And our big question is why. Our drawings represent close to a third, sometimes more, of construction costs for tenants, and sometimes it's too late. You were talking about land use development, maybe a better brokerage for us to kind of target because no building's been built yet, so we can kind of get in early.
Well, a few things. That's where we're going to learn out loud. I think because people listening, you're probably going to have a lot more brokers listening now, but your clients probably listen to you, the guys in construction and development. Mm-hmm. So the stuff we were talking about last night, just talking from, so even though I was a luxury agent I was a real estate agent, I still have a license, but now I'm consulting real estate agents as a result of the podcast. So I'm doing a lot of work with my husband, Greg Metcalf, who's a tenant rep, and he figured out finally that, might know something about this stuff or marketing. But anyway, where we're going with this conversation is when we're looking at what brokers do and what you guys are doing, the thing about brokers is like the kind of the cliche thing about real estate brokers is it's like, okay, like, what do I say? Like, I got to pick up the phone and dial and call people to get a deal. And then you guys are doing the same thing. And these brokers who are trying to call people to get deals get a call from you. And I'm going, okay, the best time to get in on a deal is way before it ever happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like once people, it's kind of like buying stock. Like if everybody knows it's a good stock, it's not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like the best way to get in front of a deal, like when you walk in to do a deal, it's not about going in and doing your big presentation. I mean, you better have that. It better be good. But the really good thing about it is you might know your presentation, but it's getting and knowing that deal before it happens. Well, guess who knows about deals before they happen? I think you guys kind of do. Because you're...
Yeah. Well,
right?
architects are also great resources because the developer will call an architect. And if you're an engineer like us that have really close relationship with the developers we work with, we'll get called too. You know, like Duke Dotson's local in our area. He's been on our podcast a couple times, and him and Adam and his team will sometimes call us and get an over under on. They're looking at something. What do I do with this? An example is they redeveloped adaptive reuse and wanted to put a restaurant in a space, and so a mechanical engineer come in there and I just like they're like, what are we looking at? I was like, just don't touch anything. And don't add a hood. Don't add a hood here.
Or walls.
Or walls, and you won't have to change your mechanical. But the moment you add a hood or this type of equipment in your kitchen, you're going to kill the budget. And so it was important for him on the underwriting, like making the deal work. They had a very limited budget and making it pencil. And that's why they'll call us in that situation.
Okay, so another thing, so I was talking to Carter about this last night. I'm like, I'm always, like, you guys are in the world of being engineers and drawing the plans, and I'm in the world of, like, where's the opportunity? Or I was. I guess I still am for my clients, but where's the problem? Where's the deal? Where's the problem? And where do I put people in place that not to sound like too much of an opportunist, but they do tie me to the deal.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at doing a real estate deal, like let's say you're a landlord rep. So you've got a deal, you're like, for example, office is supposedly no longer relevant. So you've got an office building that people are trying to sell, but it's not going to sell as an office building. It's probably going to sell as a multifamily, maybe residential, maybe a hotel. When that process, as a broker, I need to know you guys so I understand if I'm, depending on how raw I'm selling the deal, when I'm trying to sell the deal, the buyers aren't interested because it's going to take them 6 months to get the plans done. But I can get it done in 2 weeks with you guys if I know you guys and I know that. So as a broker, you're going to help me do the deal. And then once you help me do that, you're going to be called on by other guys who don't have a broker, who now I get introduced. Maybe let's edit this out and let me get back in real estate, not tell anybody our secret.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll leave this.
Never mind.
Don't share this idea. You know everything
no
we
more
said.
Consulting for me. My stuff's too good.
If you're just tuning in, what we're talking about is bad ideas and don't do anything you just heard. So
that's right. That's right. Don't replay whatever we just said. Don't listen to it. You don't want to hear that.
Getting as early into the deal as possible is I think the name of the game for anybody in the industry, honestly, and that's.
But they don't remember that. Yeah, they don't remember that. Like anyway.
Yeah. Well, and that's why we always will pitch the idea like we represent a third of the cost. We specify why not have me on speed dial? Like even if you're just thinking about a deal, just call me. And if you're on Twitter, I always tell people on Twitter, DM me on Twitter because I'll help. I mean, if you're just looking at it, I can. We've done this for so long. I can tell you yes or no on this is going to destroy what you think the HVAC budget will be or not. You know, very quickly because we've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these projects, and so there's value there, and you just build that trust. If it turns into a project, then it does. So
this is something interesting. So Carter and I were talking last night. You brought up again like the HVAC. Apparently, that's a big deal in the cost of construction.
Oh yeah, in commercial construction, everybody thinks they can. Our joke is a 5-ton unit will be fine.
4 ton.
Well, yeah, they'll say 5-ton because they don't know that there's that code requirement for the.
Well, it's not illegal to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
See, she listens.
I love that.
Nailed it.
All right, can you just come and be on my podcast too? Like every day, every time we have an interview, you're gonna have to get into luxury real estate.
Yeah, we'll give you the horn button.
Like obviously, I'm expanding into like for some background too. I think what's fun about this is before I did the luxury, I don't want to give away my age, but maybe I'll accidentally do that. So about 20 something years ago, I was a broker. And I was like 27. Nobody wanted to do a deal with me because like I'm 27.
Yeah.
And like there's even more to that story where you're really not interested in working with me. But you know what you can always do? You can always find land. You always find land and study zoning and know, like, around where we're sitting right now in Ponce Highland, the land that you would look for was RG2 zoning. So, like, anything that was RG2, you could convert it from commercial. It was supposedly industrial zone, and you could convert it into high density residential, and nobody even knew what was going on. Now, is that relevant to this or not?
Absolutely.
Right?
No, this is fascinating. So what does RG2 mean? What is that?
So that's an industrial zoning that's based on heated square feet. So it was RG2. Now, this is 20 something years ago. So around here, I would go, there would be land, there'd be parcels of land everywhere. And I had he actually owned an electric company here, but he grew up here. And so he kind of just knew the land. And he had a mom who actually because he grew up with not much. He remembers, like, living around here and stealing cars and thinking it was funny.
Oh, jeez.
So anyway, I don't even know now I don't know if he's going to kill me if I say his name, or maybe he won't, because he's so much fun. But anyway, so he grew up, his mom would own a home here and rent rooms out to girls who would live here. So he was kind of like, this real estate thing's interesting. But anyway, fast forwarding from all of that, when I met him, we would identify, there are a few little multifamily deals here that we put together, and we would put property under contract and flip it. But the key was understanding what was easy to flip. So finding deals that had the right zoning meant that we could use the real estate on it and build more where other people thought you couldn't, or we could tear it down, and we could flip it for someone else to do that. But we knew what we could do with the land. So this is going to become relevant to you. If I understand the zoning of a property, like there's a house on it.
Yeah.
But it's zoned RG2. So now all of a sudden I can have an industrial site. I can have multiple properties on it. I condo it. I mean, not to get too far into the weeds, but
no, that's fine.
If I can look at a parcel of land and see that it's got like 5 options, it's got a house on it. So I think it's residential. But when I understand the zoning, all of a sudden that zoning gave you 2 or 3 options or more. And if you do an assemblage, now you've assembled a certain number. We would assemble as well. Now, all of a sudden, you might have 5 opportunities you didn't know about. So where that is relevant is when you're looking at site plans, you're looking at engineers like you guys. If I know who can work fast and get it done, when I'm flipping these deals, because we would identify these properties, and we would sometimes even find one guy who would start to work on it and flip it again. But having the guys that know, like, I would package it and say, hey, this is what you can do with it. But I didn't have your ability. Like, think about somebody who you do what you can do. Because what you're doing is buying the time to convert the property to what's really marketable and what people will pay for.
Yeah, so you're just reducing the risk of that land play, right? So
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, and well,
your information. Yeah.
The zoning knowledge is valuable. That's what Charlie in our market. They're big part of zoning and planning experts. They're fixers. They're the Richmond, Virginia, like fixers. That's what I call them. He hates that he is that, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want to be a fixer? That's the guy who makes all the money and gets to stay behind the scenes.
He's right in the middle of it. He fixes craziest permitting problems you've ever heard of, and they get involved with it, and so they'll call us sometimes. But
there you go.
The zoning is matching that zoning with the code knowledge is a good play, especially when you're trying to package up and bundle a deal and sell it, because zoning tells you where you can do it, and the building code tells you how you can do it, and engineers are the how you can do it part, and then the zoning is the where can you do it. And so you combine that and just collaborate, you can basically just take ideas and print money with them if you know how to work the land like you're describing. So can we back up and get a little more technical? This area you're saying was that industrial, and you were you a part of like orchestrating?
So I was like, not really. Like, I was really behind the scenes. I was the 20-something-year-old kid that I had people would come to me and say, hey, by the way, we just want to convert that. Or I own some land here, we're going to sell it. Or, oh, we need to identify properties. So I would go identify, and basically, I would just get on the phone and start talking to certain homeowners and just talk to them about, hey, would you be opposed to selling? And that's where I learned how to, I don't know if you guys noticed what I just did, but I didn't say, would you sell your property?
Are you opposed to selling? I like that.
Hey, would you be offended if we brought an offer?
Yeah.
Like, when you ask them that, because everybody's asking them to do something. Like, hey, would you sell your house? Would you hire, a great broker? Or maybe you'd hire me. Nobody wants that guy.
Yeah.
So I learned at that young age to not get rejected, because you get rejected a lot. Hey, would you guys be opposed to, would you be offended if we brought you an offer?
Yeah. That reminds me of Beth Azar. I asked her on Twitter, hey, what do you recommend for engineers and cold calling? Because we are engineers, and so we hate like that. We don't do that.
Me too. That's why I learned these things so well, because I don't like the rejection and I don't like cold calling at all.
There's a TED Talk called 100 Days of Rejection or something like that. And this guy goes around for 100 straight days and does things that he knows people will reject. He'll like go to Taco Bell or something and say, hey man, do you mind if I have 100 free tacos? And
Taco refill.
Yeah. Can I get taco? He'll ask something that it's absurd and he's going to get a no and then work to say and persuade. Maybe I can get a yes. Another example, he knocks on somebody's door and asks, do you mind if I go pick some flowers in your backyard? And she was like, no, you can't do that. And then he's like, well, why? Do you mind if I ask why? And she said, well, because I have a dog. I don't want you to get hurt. My neighbor, she would be fine with it though. And so he got a yes. But he started by like intentionally asking questions that are going to get a no first to practice lightheartedly with low stakes and low risk.
Well, like you're not attached. It's like the magic is like not being attached to the outcome.
Yeah.
So I'll give you some more. So first of all, when you ask for something like that, if you want, like we're so used to as salespeople in our mind, our job is to get people to say yes to stuff, but it's really not. Our job is to help people solve a problem that they don't have a solution for. What's that?
I meant to do that one. I hit the wrong button. The record scratch actually was pretty good too. I like that.
Lonnie's going to love this. You hitting the wrong button.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, y'all. That breakfast, it was like the coffee, anyways, getting to me. But it's solving a problem that people don't have a solution for. So if I come to you trying to think about the higher the net worth or the more they have going on, which is usually the people we're working with, the more they've got everybody coming at them trying to get something out of them.
That's true.
So if I ask you anything that I obviously want you to say yes to, you're just one more of those. You just gave me another problem.
Like, oh, great.
Yep.
And I've got all these problems. I'm looking for solutions for it. And so you just gave me one more problem. Now, you know what? You became somebody I need to get away from.
Yeah, that's so true. I feel it too. And I'm not that person, but we still, as a business, we still have a lot of inbound, like cold, just too much hard sell. It's like, I don't want to have that.
So cold calling, like I'm kind of opposed. I'm like, actually, I shouldn't say I'm opposed to it, because people will say, well, I know you're opposed to cold calling. No. You know what I'm opposed to? I'm opposed to scripting people and dialing people for no good reason and asking them questions in a way that gets your phone number blocked and they find you offensive, when really you probably were a huge, like the client I was just telling you about that I did a lot of we flip deals around here for. People started realizing what he was doing because of what we did. If people would come and say, hey, they would start positioning and propping to him to do deals. And he's like, just call Jerry. Just call Jere Metcalf. Like, until you can do that, get away from me. Because I was making him more money than he thought possible. But the whole way that went about, that's another story. But I was just curious. That was a cold call that I was just super curious to learn. And that fast forwarded into a relationship where he realized, oh, wait, like you kind of are smart and get it and you have time. We can do these deals together.
Yeah.
But back to what you're talking about getting like on the cold calls. So I have something called the 9 rules. Rule number 1 is go for the no.
Yeah. Okay.
But on cold calls, first of all, you got to know the rules, but there's something called a 627. Well, that's what I do. That's why 627, my clients do this. So before you make the call, because here's the deal. When you cold call, it's not about cold calling. It's about developing the relationship for what the guy needs. Like this whole conversation, to make sure we stay relevant to our listeners, besides the cold calls we want to do, is that like when the people are looking at working with you guys, what you do, you're not just guys who are drawing plans for people. You're solving all of these other problems that actually you're a bigger opportunity for a broker, for example, than what I think they realize. You're the opportunity for the guy in construction, the guy in development, but it's the broker that's putting those guys together. And when they know that they've got somebody that's solving a problem in 2 weeks and not 6 months, and they can be the introduction to that construction guy, like you became the reason they could win that deal and probably make more money, a lot more money on that deal than you guys are. So what I just did was the 627, before you make the call, there's 6 questions you ask. There are 3 about the person you're calling, 3 about yourself, and then there are 2 things you will need to say. And then there are 7 accelerators after that are going to, if if the conversation, if you part 2, the 2 essentials, if they engage, there's 7 accelerators to the conversation. But usually people come into a conversation trying to accelerate it when the person they're called isn't ready for that.
Yeah, I've done that. I've fallen for that myself. I'll just go throw up at the mouth and like get nervous and just say way too much. And it could be a good call at first, and then I just go straight to some acceleration. It sounds like what you're talking about. And then they're like, okay, cool. Well, I'll see you later. Adam Klein on Twitter, who's now follows us and stuff. I recovered. You know, it was my first call to him. And he's going to be on the podcast because he's like, all right, Kenny, you're persuasive. Awesome. I'll be on, you know, that kind of thing.
Right.
But it's, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you on that.
No,
but
you didn't.
I've been there. I can totally relate to skipping ahead, and not intentionally. For me, it's usually just the nerves get to me, and then I don't know what to do, or I'm uncomfortable with silence or something weird, you know?
Right. So like to that, when you guys work with people, one of the biggest problems that you solve for people is the fact that you're getting plans done in 2 weeks that would otherwise take 6 months or more.
Yeah, for sure. And on our website, you can get a price by punching in the square footage. So you don't even have to call us to get an RFP. You can just say, hey, I got office 20,000 square feet, and hit enter. It'll give you a price and a proposal. So like a lot of times engineer might take 2 weeks just to get you the proposal. So
now who came up with which one of you guys came up with that?
I mean, it's been all of us, but I started the company.
It sounds like it was Kenny or Carter at least wants to make you don't want to take credit for anything.
I say I came up with a lot of the ideas, but
we're the Carter sound effects. That we need a sound effect for that one.
The 3 of us and some of the team also in our coaching side have just been integral into continue to develop the idea. But the Permazip, the brand, the idea was a result of me getting a job when I first got my license as like side work, and I'm realizing, man, these developers are hiring me. They know I'm a moonlighting engineer. Is there really no other options in like a smaller project marketplace type thing? This was strange. So I just kind of toyed with the idea of what if I could just get lead flow from like a quote, these smaller projects. Like, I don't really care. It's dollar cost average. What if I'm under a couple thousand, whatever, I'll just tune the algorithm. And it was a lead flow idea. And then suddenly people just started using the little instant quote app. And
supply and demand. They couldn't even get even a general estimate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pricing in this industry is
what
nuts.
is the problem that people can't solve, and you're solving it like right away?
Yeah.
And how do you get that in front of people? Are people just find it on the website, or is that part of your conversation on the phone? Or
it's a good question. Like right now, between guests, when we go between guests, we have a little splash screen that says, "Hey, we'll be back while you wait. Get a free price on MEP in seconds." Permazip.com, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or the podcast, or just networking. But I don't have the skills or the know-how to actually try to mobilize some sort of marketing campaign larger. It's mostly organic, just relationship stuff. And once people find it.
Or when you make the cold call, it could be part of that conversation.
Yeah. So the 7 accelerators, I meant to go back to that.
Yeah.
What does that look like? So you've gone to 3 questions about yourself.
We were talking about engineering. You guys actually want to talk about it?
Yeah, cool. This is the
right.
Yeah, well, we're engineers. So the reason for the podcast for us is we're engineers, and we want to dive into the other parts of the industry we don't know about, because we believe if we understood it, we'd become better consultants ourselves. Like, if we knew what happened with land deals and zoning and things that we've talked about, or even this cold call. Like, we could train our engineers to be better. We could teach other engineers how to do these things that we learn.
So when you guys make a cold call, who do you typically make them? Oh, by the way, so I'm supposed to be ready at 10:55.
What time is it?
What time is it?
10:58.
Oh God, I'm late.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you. My website is Breakthrough Luxury, which sounds like not the website for this show, but it's breakthroughluxury.com if anybody just wants to find me. But we'll do another interview. And let's talk, like, you come on my show. I've got the Jere Metcalf podcast for top real estate agents.
That'd be awesome.
But I'll come to you and we'll talk more about it. You guys are awesome. This has been great. Thank you.
See you later. Appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
Cheers.